There have been suspicions for some time that AFL Media, the media owned by the sport, isn't truly independent, even though they say it is. Well, it would appear that it's finally been confirmed. AFL Media journalist Mitch Cleary was stood down indefinitely when he tweeted a player's wife's Instagram post that showed her at a day spa. That outing was against the code's coronavirus rules and it cost Richmond a $45,000 fine. Numerous media outlets had already named the player and his wife before Cleary tweeted the pic. The AFL has been almost universally panned for the decision by the likes of Eddie Maguire, Caroline Wilson and many other journalists. It's understood that AFL believes that Cleary has an obligation as an AFL employee first and a journalist second. Wow, Robbo. Doesn't this stink to high heaven? Or are they right? He's employed by the AFL, so he shouldn't go against the code.
Well, let's just go on the fact that the AFL has continually come out since they created this separate arm saying that it is independent and it's robust and there's no bias and blah, 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 blah. Then this happens. The man just tweets something that was already out in, the greater world. It was already put on a platform like Instagram, which is public. Numerous places, including 9 newspapers and the 9 Network, had named the player and named the player's wife. He was doing his job as what I'm assuming that when he was employed, mate, you're going to be a journalist. Yes, you work for the AFL, but, we're independent. You can do what you want. And then all of a sudden they get a bit of a bad story, of a COVID story, right? And then they flick the journo saying that he should be AFL first and journo second. Well, then what you need to do is just change AFL Media to AFL PR.
Yeah,
that's fine, but just be open about what you are. If you're public relations...
But what a story to get canned over too. This is a story that was already out there. As we said in the intro, the woman had been named and the player had been named by other media. He literally just retweeted her own post. This is just shocking to me, Ben.
But it's also not completely out of the idea of going, when you're a media proprietor, you will shut down stories. So there'll be stories about Channel 9 now that will no longer appear in the SMH, or if they do, they'll appear in page 16. That is true. Hold on. Okay. Any other kind of ideas? So in the West Australian and 7 News in Perth didn't cover when Kerry Stokes went back over there and didn't quarantine. It wasn't covered by that news service. Wonder why? Because Kerry Stokes owned the network and it was not publicised. It's no different to this, really.
But, sorry, I just wanted to pick you up on something about the old Fairfax newspapers, The Age and the SMH. I can tell you from sources within Channel 9 that they are absolutely keeping an arm's length with the newspaper, because one of the fears of one of the brands of that paper has been its independence. And they reported on the fact that Channel 9 had a Liberal fundraiser in its studios. They reported that... they've done bad stories against Channel 9.
Bad example. That was a bad example. If they're not doing that, then they're one of the only media companies in the world that doesn't actually do it. And if they're not doing it to keep that independence, I totally understand that. But my point is that all media companies all over the world do this kind of thing. Do they sack the journal? No, they just don't run the story.
I do agree with that. I 100% do agree with that.
Apologies to 9 newspapers.
I'm not bearing the flag for Channel 9. It's just that I have been involved in conversations where they've said, no, we can't do that because that's the newspaper's arm and we don't touch that. I can tell you that.
I'm gonna take myself into the room of mirrors and have a bloody good hard look at myself after the ridiculous thing that I just said.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo show.